Introduction. Transportation is known as the movement of any substance from one place to another. Like water and nutrients required for all metabolic activities are transported in the body of plants and animals. The waste materials or excretory products also move to the region of excretion through transportation. Transportation in animals takes place through circulatory system, which includes blood, blood vessels, and heart. Why is transportation necessary? Transportation is necessary for humans because we need a transport system to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and other substances to all our body cells. We also need it for the excretion of waste products. The blood is responsible for transporting food, oxygen, and waste materials in human bodies. Plasma is responsible for transporting food, carbon dioxide, and nitrogenous wastes in dissolved form. Transportation is necessary for plants because trees transport all the nutrients and water it needs for survival from its roots to the tips of the leaves. Transportation of water by xylem provides water to all of its parts and also for photosynthesis. The product formed is also transported throughout the plant by phloem from leaves to other parts.
Transportation in human beings. Heart. The heart is a muscular organ about the size of a fist, located just behind and slightly left of the breastbone. The heart pumps blood through the network of arteries and veins called the cardiovascular system. The heart has four chambers, two arteries and two ventricles. The right atrium receives oxygen-poor blood from the body and pumps it to the right ventricle. The right ventricle pumps the oxygen-poor blood to the lungs. The left atrium receives oxygen-rich blood from the lungs and pumps it to the left ventricle. The chambers of the heart work together by alternately contracting and relaxing to pump blood throughout the heart. The main functions of the heart: pumping oxygenated blood to the other body parts, pumping hormones and other vital substances to different parts of the body, receiving deoxygenated blood and carrying metabolic waste products from the body and pumping into the lungs for oxygenation, maintaining blood pressure. Heart and its functions. Vena cava from upper body. The inferior vena cava is a vein. It carries deoxygenated blood from the lower half of the body to the right atrium of the heart. The corresponding vein that carries deoxygenated blood from the upper half of the body is the superior vena cava. Right atrium. The right atrium receives blood from the veins that has already circulated through the body and pumps it over to the right ventricle. Right ventricle. The right ventricle passes the blood onto the pulmonary artery, which sends it to the lungs to pick up oxygen. Vena cava from lower body. Spectrum. Aorta. The aorta is the largest artery that carries oxygen-rich blood from the left ventricle of the heart to other parts of the body. Pulmonary arteries. The pulmonary arteries carry blood from the right side of the heart to the lungs. Pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins transfer freshly oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atria of the heart. Left atrium. The left atrium receives blood full of oxygen from the lungs and then empties the blood into the left ventricle. Left ventricle. The left ventricle connects nearly all organ systems through its function to pump oxygenated blood to the body.
Oxygen enters the blood in the lungs. The oxygen enters the bloodstream from the alveoli, tiny sacs in the lungs where gas exchange takes place. The transfer of oxygen into the blood is through simple diffusion. CO2-rich blood goes to the lungs for oxygenation. Oxygen-rich blood returns to the heart. The separation on the right side and the left side of the heart is useful to keep oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from mixing. Such separation allows a highly efficient supply of oxygen to the body. This is useful in animals that have high energy needs, such as birds and mammals, which constantly use energy to maintain their body temperature. In animals that don't use energy for this purpose, the body temperature depends on the temperature in the environment. Such animals, like amphibians or many reptiles, have three-chambered hearts and tolerate some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated bloodstreams. Fishes, on the other hand, have only two chambers to their hearts, and the blood is pumped to the gills, is expanded here and passes directly to the rest of the body.
Circulation of blood. The circulatory system is responsible for transport of various substances in human beings. Blood goes only once through the heart in the fish during one cycle of passage through the body. On the other hand, it goes through the heart twice during each cycle in other vertebrates. This is known as double circulation. Amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals have double circulation as the blood passes through the heart twice in each complete circuit around the body. The course of blood from heart to the lungs and back to the heart is called pulmonary circulation. The flow of blood from the heart to the body and the head and back to the heart is termed systematic circulation. Pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricles to the lungs. Vena cava, a large vein that carries blood to the heart from other areas of the body. Veins. Veins pump much needed blood back to the heart. Pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein transfers freshly oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atria of the heart. Aorta. The aorta is the large artery that carries oxygen rich blood from the left ventricle of the heart to the other parts of the body. Artery. Artery carries deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Lung capillaries. Blood passes through the capillaries, entering through your pulmonary artery and leaving via your pulmonary vein. Capillaries in body organs apart from the lungs.
Blood. Blood is fluid in the body. It has four components: plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. It has the function of transporting oxygen and nutrients throughout the body. The blood flows through veins, arteries, and capillaries. It has about 55% plasma and 45% blood cells. Platelets help the blood to clot. Clotting stops the blood from flowing out of the body when a vein or artery is broken. Red blood cells carry oxygen. White blood cells ward off infection. Importance of blood. Blood is fluid connective tissue. Blood provides the body's cells with oxygen and removes carbon dioxide. Blood transports nutrients and hormones. Blood regulates body temperature. Platelets clot blood at sites of injury. Blood brings waste products to the kidney and liver. Red blood cells are the most numerous living cells in blood. White blood cells protect the body from pathogens.
Blood vessels. Blood vessels are tube-like structures which carry blood through cells, tissues, and organs. There are three types of blood vessels. They are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry blood rich in oxygen from the heart to all cells of the body. The pressure exerted by the arteries while blood leaves heart is rapid, and thus walls of arteries are thick. Veins carry blood rich in carbon dioxide from all cells of the body to the heart. The pressure exerted by the walls of the veins is less and have thin walls. Valves present in the veins ensure that the blood flow only towards the heart. Arteries are colored red and veins are blue connected to the heart. Capillaries. The arteries divide into extremely small thin branches on reaching the tissues. These small branches are called as capillaries. Capillaries have walls and are one cell thick, through which the exchange of materials between the blood and surrounding cells take place across this thin wall.
Blood pressure. The force the blood exerts against the wall of vessel is called blood pressure. This pressure is much greater in arteries than in veins. The pressure of blood inside the artery during ventricular systole contraction is called systolic pressure, and pressure in artery during ventricular diastole is called diastolic pressure. The normal systolic is about 120 mm of Hg and diastolic pressure is 80 mm of Hg. Blood pressure is measured with an instrument called sphygmomanometer. High blood pressure is called hypertension and is caused by the constriction of arterioles, which results in increased resistance to blood flow. It can lead to the rupture of an artery and internal bleeding.
Lymph is a colorless fluid collected from tissues in most parts of the body and returned to the blood via the lymphatic system. It is about 95% water. Its composition is similar to plasma of blood but contains less protein. Lymph mainly contains white blood cells, mainly lymphocytes. Through the pores present in the walls of capillaries, some amount of plasma, proteins, and blood cells escape into intercellular spaces in the tissues to form the tissue fluid or lymph. Lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries from the intercellular spaces which join to form large lymph vessels that finally open into larger veins. Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into blood. Functions of lymph: maintains fluid levels in your body, absorbs fats from the digestive tract, protects your body against foreign invaders, transports and removes waste products and abnormal cells from the lymph.
Transportation in plants. Plants have two pathways of conducting tubes, xylem and phloem. Xylem moves water and minerals from the roots to the leaves. Phloem transports or translocates food, sugar or energy from the leaves to all parts of the plant body. In plants, gases are mainly exchanged through the stomata, but some gases are exchanged through the roots within the air spaces in the soil. Xylem. Xylem is the specialized vascular tissue in plants that transports water and nutrients from the soil to the leaves. The flow of water is unidirectional and in upward direction. It is responsible for replacing water lost through transpiration and photosynthesis. Xylem is a complex tissue that is composed of four basic types of cells: tracheids, vessels, xylem fiber, and xylem parenchyma. The only living component of xylem is xylem parenchyma. The water is absorbed by root hair and undergoes cell-to-cell movement by osmosis until it reaches the xylem. The water then travels through the plant to reach the leaves. This is called ascent of sap.
Xylem transports water and minerals. Xylem is unidirectional. Xylem has no end walls between cells. Xylem has thick walls stiff with lignin.
Phloem. The transport of food or glucose and also amino acids and other substances from the leaves to different parts of the plant body is called translocation. Translocation takes place in the phloem by delivering the food or energy to the storage organs like roots, fruits, etc. and to the growing organs. Phloem is a complex tissue that is composed of four basic types of cells: sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fiber, and phloem parenchyma. The only dead component of phloem is phloem fiber. Translocation is bidirectional, that is, both in the upward and downward directions, and takes place in the sieve tubes with the help of companion cells. Ascent of sap takes place by simple physical forces, but translocation in phloem is achieved by utilizing energy.
Phloem transports water and food. Phloem cells have end walls with perforations. Phloem is bidirectional.